Okay, so we get once again. It's the number Tesvav. Vatam Yosa Nikra Yad. Who's there? This is the reason why. Maskil levar maducha yisod enoka nikra b'shem Yad. Ki hine chamesh gevurosem. So we know there are 5 gevuros. Shehem sod chamisha osis mansapach, and we could see those gevuros in there. I'm thinking always of mansapach as somehow a sweetened gevuros, but they're gevuros. V'chamisha osius Elokim, also the 5 names letters of Elokim, so there's another 5. So it's mansapach and Elokim is lashon din. V'shorshim heim lamala b'chamesh b'komos k'nizka b'idra rabba. Now it's going to mention that there's 5 different places where the origin of this comes from. V'heim b'chutmach v'b'pumach v'b'zeroyim v'yadin v'etzbaim. So he said, "Kamavur b'idra rabba." V'chamisha gevuros v'spashtim b'chadas, him chamisha osius mansapach. He explains it out a little bit better. So he says, v'chamisha b'koma b'guf the zeranpen. So now we're talking about zeranpen, and we have the 5 gevuros spreading through the body of zeranpen. B'choitim mispashe the os mem. So in other words, I go through each one of them. He's talking about the kach tsuras shnei nikvei ha'av gula. They're like the katsuras mem stuma. So he writes the mem this way, but in the petuach. But he means the mem stuma. Bepet mispashti ma'of fei sofit. The lashon peh. That's the lashon peh. So what is fei? Peh is also fei. Of also mispashti ma'os nun. So it looks like the concept of the arms as they extend downward is like a nun. Bekafos yada, so we get down to the hands themselves, the palms are just the hands. This pashetis os kaf sofit. V'lakach nikraim kaf, because it goes along with the kind of the kaf of the hand. Now when you come to the finger, mispashtim os tzadi, that's where you see the little tzadi. So over there you have also this letter in this refers to fingers. Number Yud Zayin, the Bokol Makom Chameshim Bakomas in Karman, every one of these 5 places we're talking about. The Chlalim Sham Kol Chamesh Gevurot. So in each one of these places has the whole 5 there. Ella, the one that is brightest, or let's say the most dominant, Ella Shagover Sham Bekol Makom Mehem Enu Ra Gevura Achas Mehem Belvad. There's only, even though they have 5, it's like, say, it's that metaphor about the lights. One of them is shining a lot brighter. It's the dominant one. Vihi Hanikeres Bechavandegla Sham Bol Kululus Kol Chamesh Gevuros, and in that one are all the 5 Gevuros are found there. So even though the simple meaning of the idra, more shebekol echad mechamesh bekomas in his karam and bispashtim rad gevura achas, when we say there's only a spread of 1 gevura, ein zerekach. It's not really like that. Elakol chachamisha gevuras bispashtim bekol echad mechamesh bekomas. So they sort of like I guess like a train. They're all running through these places. These different places. Ela shebekol makom yesh lecho gevura achas ikris is one that's the root one. V'hine kerisham begiloi k'fi chaseder niska. So it's represented there, revealed there, as we said. Achein yachad imo kalula gam shar ha'arba gevura. So along with it, all the other 5, you got those 2. Now Rav goes on. He said b'chutma nikar v'nigla. Gevura achas mechem belvad, but there's only one of them that you really can recognize. That's the brightest part of it, the ikr part. 1 second. Okay, so then he says, it's uba klalos kulam, and in that one, all the rest of them are all included. Al derek zen, this way, hu b'puma, it's also in the mouth. V'amna b'sofa chamisha mekomos, when you get to the end of the 5 places. The last one. Sham niglo v'nikeres kol chamesh gevuros kulam. There you see and recognize all of the 5 gevuros in this last one. In other words, they're manifest there. You see them. So therefore, since now They're all going to be because all the other places, the other four, are individual locations. But here's it all has all five of them. Etzbal Siyad called Etzba Nifrad Mechavero. Each one is separate from his neighbor. Ki Yisham not Nizgalo called Gevura Haiti, because there you see every Gevura is really well manifest. Masha Ein came B'Shar Chamisha Bekomos. Ki Ein Sham Begilui Rak Chotim Echod O Pe Echod V'Ki Yotze. So he says, so these four different limbs that we're talking about, Shaberim is pashtas of Gevuras Tehila, Azai Kevin Shiraka Gevura Achaz Hi Ikris, even though we understand that one of them is the main part of each one of them, the Nigla Sham Ka'amor, and it's the one you really see, if you could see them. So therefore each one of them is an individual. Ulam as bows, but when you get to the fingers, so this is the end of the line. Each one of them has to have a place. So he says, Gevuros, Sham kol chamesh Gevuros heim begidloi mamash v'lechein heim chamisha etzbos nifradim keneged chamisha Gevuros aniglim sham. So there are going to be 5 separate places. Number Yud Tes V'Hine the feature Chamisha Chasadim is Gala V'Chameshes Boz Yad Yamim, and so you say now you have 5 Chasadim. Now let's just switch a little bit. We were talking about Gevuros. Now he says the 5 Chasadim go into the right hand. Of V'Chamesh Gevuros is Gala V'Chameshes Boz Yad small, and then the Gevuros are revealed in the left hand. But the Chain Chutstrak should call Yom Nismoch as Nukva the Zer Anpin. So therefore every day you have to lean or put together a nukva the zer anpin, shehu so tefillin shel yad. So therefore, this smoke, I guess, means to place over here. The female aspect of zer anpin, which is the sod of tefillin shel yad, the hand tefillin. The lakashra of Gevurot is small, and to tie it onto that left arm. That left arm, once again, is one of the 5 places that the Gevurah spread. Shehi Keneged Bechina Gevurah, which is the left goes with Gevurah. Yad small Rich Anpin, so the left hand of Rich Anpin, Shehi Sharish Kol Dinim Gevuras, which is really the root of where all of the dinim and the Gevuras come from. Val Yadach Nismatku HaGevuros V'Chadinim Shebenukva, and through this, needs a little explanation for me. You see a sweetening of all of the Gevuros and the dinim that you find in the Nukva Kanodah She'ein the dinim is matkim ela ad al yadei shorsham. That's a rule that we've seen before. So let's read this one out. Maybe we'll come back to see if there's something interesting in the Shefa Hakavanot. 1 second. Let me just look at this. How it goes. It has a little arichos on it. So he says, let's read the Tiv. Chamisha etzbos yad yamim him keneged chamisha chasadim. It's a fact. Going on to the next part. So he said, for chamisha etzbos yad small, but when you come to the left hand, yad small him keneged chamisha gevuros. They correspond to the 5 gevuros. So along the way we understand this. As Indian kashiras and tefillin, we could understand why or what's going on when we tie on the tefillin. Shal yad bezro is small daika that we put it specifically on the left arm. V'hu mishum shetefillin shal yad hu besod nuk dezer anpin. B'kevin shal nuk yesh b'cha b'dinim b'gevuros kanada. We understand that this is where the gevuros and the dinim pile up. Azai b'kadei l'matek as the dinim. So then, in order to be able to sweeten those dinim, shabal koshrim also al zero is small as their anpin shehu b'pekidus gevura. So therefore, we put it on the left arm as their anpin, which is a concept of gevura. B'sham b'zero is small, so they're over there in that left arm, the zer anpin. Nemshechas ha'ara the gevuros. They have now the radiance that comes from the gevuros, b'erik anpin marich. Comes from Erik Anpin. So in that left arm, panimi to that is going to be the Gevuros of Erik Anpin. Masha of Yad small to Erik Anpin, and what we're talking about the left arm is Erik Anpin. He said, but Ayin b'Shefa Hakavanot, we have a little shefa. We'll pick it up here. It's not a little one. It has some marichas to it. It's not the simple meaning that you might think. Now, when we come to this, what he says, he uses the word ha'ara. So this radiance that's coming from the zerah nimtakim dini hanuk, they are able to sweeten up the dinim of the nuk. Making contact with Eric Anpen is the way to bring sweetness into the world, as is known. She'ena dinim nimtakim ela b'shorshim. That's the basic rule in Kabbalah. B'shorsh ha'gevuros hu mariach. Where did the gevuros really originally come from? They come from arich. V'ayin b'shefa kavanot kan. So we'll look over it again. Shenizbar b'arichos yoser inyan zeh. That we're going to get into that more as we're moving along here and try to get into the place where we stopped way back when. This is all another review. Let's see what he says over here in the Shefa. Now the Shefa is going to have some arichas to it, and let's see what it says. V'lekach hutzruk shebekol yom nismok as nukva dezer anpin shehi sod tefillin shayad. V'lekasher bezroa small shehi keneged bechina gevura. Yad small darich. So we're talking about the left arm of Eric Anpin. Shehi shorsh. In other words, inside of the arms of Zer Anpin, you have an Eric Anpin inside. Shehi shorish kol hadinim v'kavura v'al yada nismatku ha'kavura v'chadinim shebenukva, and this is the sweetening power. Kenoda she'eim hadinim nimtakim elach agedei shash. Inyan zeh, this boyer Yosef b'shar mamari Rashbi, he writes. If we go over there, v'navil as devara b'kitzer. But let me come and make a short version and see if we can understand it. Achashin is pashtos achamisha gevura b'chadas dezer anpin levok shalo. So now it comes out of the das where the five are located, spreads into the body of zer anpin. Azai kol hagavuros asher b'zer anpin chosros v'olos. They go back and they rise up. What is this meaning here? Miskabsos kula b'socha chotim shalo, and they all come into his nose. Now that's interesting. Let me just read that again so I can understand it. Kol hagavuros asher b'zer anpin chosros. All of them go back. So he says that they spread into zer. It sounds like what he's saying is they spread into zer anpin, but then they go backwards. And they all gathered together, kula b'socha chotim shalo, and they all gathered together in his nose. And so now all of these gevuros are wound up in the nose. What are we going to do in order to sweeten them? Which is atika, means Eric Anpin, shul Eric Anpin. El zer anpin v'nukve, and bring it into zer anpin and his nuk. Just 1 second, please. Okay. Zer anpin, el zer anpin v'nukve. So once again, back the chaim mechut madatika shuhu Eric Anpin, el zer anpin v'nukve. So he writes in parentheses, the zer anpin nimshach meneked yamin dechot derich, v'lenucha nimshach meneked small. So that part, that's an important part, but I'm still a little backwards where he says that those gevuros which are in the goof of the zer anpin, they all rise up into his nose. So that means it was the previous hispashtus. That's what it sounds like to me. Going on. At this moment, there's only a ruach in zer anpin. Because now, only the gevuros, his gevuros, are able to be sweetened, are perfumed at this time. About gevuros malchus, but the gevuros that are ultimately wind up in malchus, ein yichola the his basim ata ad la'asir disman malchus mashicha. So, all right. So he's focusing on the gevuros being sweetened in zer anpin, and he says once again, he says that the gevuros that are ultimately going to be in malchus, and this is actually has strong implications here for our world, can only be sweetened at the time of the Mashiach. Vim Tomer, if you say like this, excuse me, Gam b'chut meradatika, that is Eric Anpin, Hem Gevuros. They're also Gevuros. Vim came Echem et Basmim as a Gevur Shebechutna Dezer Anpin. So he says, also in the nose of Eric Anpin, there are dinim there. So how can you take those dinim, this old principle here, and you could sweeten up some other dinim, because they're dinim too? So the answer to this, ki Eidah HaGevuros v'adinim shebatika erich, Adarabba kokochem v'gevurosim chula achvia kol chadinim v'gevuros atachtonim. What their power is, and that's the same rule that he said before, is that you have to have a shorish of the in order to sweeten the dinim that are manifest. He says, "V'kol chadinim v'gevuros atachtonim ki ein adin nechva ela b'shorsha." So that's the reason why, even so, because what those gevuras can do is they can sweeten the dinim in zeranpin. The list smola is small. The in Eric Anpin. The list smola b'chayatika klal. There is really no concept of a left line. Just the fact that they exist there, and their power is to sweeten. V'nevar inyan elu trin ruchin denafkin b'chuta deratika. The zer anpin v'lenukfe. So let's talk about it. He said trin nekavin. There's two nostrils. Yesh b'chutma deratika Eric Anpin. And they're in the form of the two letters that come from the mansipach of man, shal mansipach. Shehem soda hamisha gevuros, which is the secret of the 5 gevuros. Meneka the yamini, when you look at the right nostril, shehu mem stuma, which is a mem in he called it a circle previously, but at any rate it's stuma. Nafik tade rucha dechai el zer anpin. So the rucha dechai from that right nostril is going to come out the rucha dechai from to zer anpin. Avara b'meneka v'smoli, but if you look at the left one, shehut surah nun kafufa, nun kafufa hafucha, which is upside down, mishnei misham mispashet rucha dechai shebo derech hazroa de zer anpin. That's what's going to go into the arm of zer anpin. So what is he describing? What I was saying previously is that Eric Anpin is inside of Zer Anpin. It's Benimi to Zer Anpin. So here you see that this is going to go from the left nostril into the arm of Zer Anpin. Kigamas roachut surus nun, because it's also in the form of this other letter which talking about, which is that long nun peshuta. V'yan ki chazroa sagor v'sasum ve'ein lo pesach petuach besofo. The Hotzia Orach B'Sham Elamalchus, so there's no really opening, it's closed. The Chain Ein Rucho Dechai B'Nekev Smoli the Chodach Erich Anpin Yotza El Hamalchus Begilui. So therefore, so he said, once I put that in parentheses Begilui, there is a Ha'arva that comes out, but on the other hand, it's not the real thing, or not the the essence of it. The Chod the Erich Anpin, or the root of it. Erich Anpin Yotza Halamalchu Begilui. Rak Besasim Gomor, but on the truth is that whatever is going down the arm of Erich Anpin, of Zer Anpin rather, is completely closed. Vein and Niglo, the Hindisha Yotza Eizach Ara Ba'alma, always said that, etc. But in the future, as things progress, the dinim in the arms will be sweetened. And then you will be able to see that the rocha dechai will be able to come out derek hazroa through that arm el hamalchus begilui gomor, and you will actually it will be revealed, completely revealed. Now, all of this. V'zeh tavin tam tefillin shal yad hakasham haniksheres v'zroa ha'adam. Now you can understand what's pshat in the left tefillin, the hand tefillin. But Inyan, who the Inyan is like this, ki tefillah shal yad, he b'b'chidus of malchus kanayit. It's the aspect of malchus. V'anu koshrim osach b'zroa ha'adam, so we tie it. But the zroa ha'adam adayim the zer anpin, it ties it onto our left arm, which is, and we see ourselves as generated from the template of zer anpin kadesh yamshech sheyimshach, and so that it would be streamed a law to it ha'ara min hahu ruchu dechai de nikve smole de hutbe de ratika de datika. Let me go over this. It's a little bit complicated sentence. Ba'anu koshrim oso bezroa adam b'adoma lezer anpin. So we pray it on our left arm. Kadesh yimshach law into that left arm, arm. Ha'ara me hahu rucha dechai, the naked smole that is going to give that rucha. So he's using this word rucha. Kadesh yimshach the chutma. Let's say sheyimshach lo ha'ara mahaku rucha dechai, the naked smole the chutma the chatika erikanpen. Hasasam, which is closed up in the arm, smolit is their anpen kenizka. V'yimshaka l'malchus derek sasam v'lo begilui, but it has to come to malchus through a closed place. In other words, it's a hara, something, it's just what breaks through the barrier. Ad kan devara. V'kan mosiv Rebbeinu devoyer. So now Rebbeinu wants to come and explain. Sha'al yedeh hamshachas ha'ara, by streaming this radiance, the secondary light, hazud the neked the smoli, the erek al anuk, nimtaking dindich anuk gam came. So there is some sweetening that takes place in the nook also. Okay, so I think now we're moving along and we're getting close to where we were finishing last time. Up at the so we're going to talk the number kaf. That's how we're doing it. Kaf, number kaf. V'lechein eidach hachamisha gevuros nikrayim yad kenizkar. So the five gevuros are called, as we mentioned, by the name hand. Kevin biyad small dezer anpin hu makom gilach hachamisha gevuros. It's the place where the five gevuros. Well, he says revealed in there. Nikrayim gevuros b'shem yad. So the gevuros themselves are called by the name hand. So what does a hand do? I mean, a hand is a gevura anyway, although he said the right one are chasadim, because they grip, they are able to grip things. The hand we're talking about over here, Hakavanot the chamisha gevuros, is really talking about the five gevuros. So this hand is really, where do you actually find this? You find this hand in Ima Law and Misham Nimshkoch al Yisod the Nukva Dezer Anpen, and from Ima Law it extends then into the Nukva Dezer Anpen. Vaz Nisaken the Yisod the Huva Naasa Kli Kenizker, and it becomes a Kli like we mentioned. Hachamisha Gevuros Chaladucha Nimshachen la Ima. So they come from Zer Anpen, they go through Ima. L'b'shasa dormita de zer anpen, as we know this process. Shaz mispashtem anai the ima chabima mochen shebesoch besoch zer anpen, so she extends into zer anpen. Azay yidei ima mispashtem bechutz the nook, so they come out. That is, he calls the hands, which refers to, I guess, these five gevuros that we're saying that the origin of them is an erik anpen going through ima. Azai yedei ima mispashti bebechutz the nook uboim ad keneged the yisod the nook umamshichim sham as the chamish gevuros, and from there you see start to stream the five gevuros. Levukach misaknim as klicha yisoda. This is actually able to build the yisod of the nook. Ukamoshu yavor lochalon. We'll get into it more. But the zechem mevuchim b'madach yisod the nook nikra b'shem yad. So why should it be called a hand? Well, a hand is a molder. Maybe that's the reason. Shu al shem hagavuros, and he says she calls the hand because of the gevuros. Nikros yad, which we mentioned before. Hamisaknis also that are able to rebuild her. So we're not going to have a back end today. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. We could do one more sentence. This is wait. We're really out of time. Just about. I could get started on the Shefa on number Yud Tes, and we'll look at it tomorrow. We'll start there and do there, and then we'll be in a new place. So let's v'lekach eilach hamisha gevuros nekroim yad kenizkar. So they're called a hand, and we saw a reason. He shall hayad the iman the sakin as klicha yisod the nook. So this, which we're talking about, these gevuros, coming in, and they're building up the Yesod of the Nuk, Pirashta B'Teva Gavanos, Kepeshuto Shal Devarim. The Chayad the Ima Nimshachas B'Bechutz L'Nuk, it comes from outside of the Nuk ad HaYesod Shalo until it reaches her Yesod. B'Sham Him B'Sakenis also, and there it builds her. And like we say, that there's some kind of a, what do you say, miyuch is crushing down or pushing down. There's a miyuch that takes place, like a molding process, which can be done with the Gevuros. We'll see it over there. Because of the Seder of Zechah Na'az V'Zbana Dormita. That's when it comes from. He used the word outside, and I always thinking that ima is panimi to the nook, but he says because the nook is really attached to Zeranpin, and in order to reach the nook, you have to divorce it. It has to separate itself from Zeranpin, then come back down on the backside and go into the nook. So I guess bo be'ez yidei ima be'ez. Now we see that the hand of ima boim b'chutz keneged the yisod shelo. They reach down to the place from the outside, corresponding to a place opposite the yisod. Uma'akim and besaknim also, and from the outside they. I guess I'm trying to get the right for ma'akim. I don't have they squeeze it, they mold it. Amnam, so he said we're going to go down a couple of more words. Amnam, kamba b'farshim, so he says who? The DRUSHOT. Okay, that's it? Okay, we'll stop right there at that Amnam. And that'll be the shear for today. This is Baruch Fleischman. You're listening to the Tikkun Elevator. Hold on.